God, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you just for these amazing team members that gave up their time to get on the phone and or get on their computer and listen to us. Lord, I pray that all the words that we speak just glorify you. And yeah, Lord, I just pray for our business and pray that that glorifies you and just everything we do. We know that Plexus is a total gift from you, and we're so thankful. We love you so much, Lord. It's in your amazing name we pray. Amen.
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 Sorry, it's hard to. There we go. I'm not used to it. I'm in my car.
I know it's gonna, but you look lovely in your Lexus.
Well, actually, it's Kevin's truck, but thank you.
You know, because your Lexus has the lighter interior, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I'm getting a new one, I think, on Friday. So.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, so you guys, this is Cheyenne Weable.
Hi, guys.
She's a Diamond Ambassador with Plexus, and she's just amazing. She's become a dear friend of mine, a mentor, and she actually really has been excited about pouring into you, which is such a gift and a blessing. We're just so thankful for you, Cheyenne. So,
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Rachel, for having me on tonight. And thank you all for giving up your time just to, learn more about my journey. And hopefully you'll come off of here and have just a little bit more insight about leadership. Like I said, I'm actually in my husband's car tonight. My daughter has a mandatory soccer meeting that was just scheduled. And so as soon as we get off here, I will be jumping into the restaurant where the meeting is. So, that's one of the beauties of our job is we can do it from anywhere, right? So anyways, my name is Cheyenne Weable, and I am a Diamond Ambassador with Plexus. I've been married for almost 20 years. I have 2 children. I have JC, she's 19, and Macy's 14, and we're actually in the midst of adopting a little girl named Tram that is 13 from Vietnam. So our life is kind of crazy. Before Plexus, I was a kindergarten teacher. So in June of 2013, Celeste Gwynn messaged me. We knew each other from mission trips a mission trip that my husband had taken with her. And we knew each other from fundraising events. That's really all. We'd see each other maybe once or twice a year, and that was it. So in June of 2013, she messaged me. She knew I was going to Vietnam for almost a month that summer, and she asked me to take Plexus to a mutual friend of ours. And of course, my concern was, how big is it? And am I going to get stopped in customs and, all that good stuff. And so she reassured me that it was very small and that I wouldn't be in any trouble. So I agreed to take it. But then I wanted to know, well, if our friend in Vietnam wanted it and Celeste was using it, I wanted to know what it was. So I started stalking her Facebook page. And so I saw that she had lost almost 30 pounds. And I thought, ooh, I want some of that. So I messaged her and I became a preferred customer. Well, within 3 days, I had lost 3 pounds. I had no desire to sell it. I don't even think I knew you could sell or that I could sell it. And I just posted on Facebook that, oh my goodness, this product actually worked for me. And I had a friend that wanted to buy it. So I messaged Celeste and I told her that I had a new customer for her. And she said, no, Cheyenne, you really should sell it yourself. And I said, Celeste, I'm a teacher. My husband's the one in medical sales. I don't sell. And she said, Cheyenne, you already have one customer. She said, just think, if you have, maybe 3 or 4 customers, then you can make enough money to purchase your products. Well, she had me sold because I thought, well, that'd be a deal. And so I left for Vietnam. I signed up and I left for Vietnam. And all she told me, she said, okay, post on Facebook. I said, okay. So I posted some in Vietnam, and y'all, it was crazy. I had a friend by, I guess, the end of my first month that wanted to sign up. So I was still in Vietnam, and she messaged Celeste, and Celeste walked her through everything. She had been in network marketing before, so all of this made sense to her. It didn't make sense to me. I kept reading the comp plan. I was like, I don't even understand this. But I ended up with numerous customers, I guess, and one ambassador. So when my first ambassador ended up going silver pretty quickly within the first week. And it was funny because I remember asking, well, what is silver? And when I was told, I was like, well, I want to do that. So once I got home from Vietnam, I really started posting more, started talking to people more, and that's when my business kind of took off. I posted my first before and after picture. At that point, I'd lost about 12 pounds, and I ended up going to gold in August. And then every month after, I started ranking up, and it really just took off. So in 7 months, I ended up going emerald. In 9 months, I went sapphire, and then in 11 months, I went diamond. And I was actually at convention when I went diamond, so it was kind of fun to be sitting there and to have our team around us and everything, and it was really exciting. But I remember sitting in those seats, going diamond, being excited. But I remember Sonia Dudley was up on stage, and she made the comment. She said, "You know, any of you can be up here next year on stage." Well, I was sitting next to Beth Anderson. I don't know if y'all know her or not, but she's another diamond ambassador. And we looked at each other and we were both like, absolutely not. No, thank you. No way, no how. Well, when I said no, thank you, I meant absolutely not. When Beth said no, thank you, we just said no way to each other. Her thing was she decided that she was going to make it a challenge for herself. Well, I didn't, and I let fear set in. And y'all, I kid you not, I was in the top 10 of convention credit points that year. I was in the top 10. I'd earned a suite. I'd earned every prize, flew past it. I was in full momentum. Our team was in full momentum, I should say. And my PV was over $7,000. It was crazy, full momentum. August of that year, well, let me go back. June, I ended up buying my Lexus. My husband quit his job. I quit my job. And we just decided to work Plexus full time. Y'all, fear set in. Fear of having to get up on a stage. I know that sounds so silly. Fear of what if this all goes away and I have this Lexus payment and I don't have a job and my husband doesn't have a job. We no longer had health insurance. We went through, it's called Samaritan Ministries, which is a Christian co-op, but I was scared to death. We'd always gone by the books. We had insurance, we had 401ks. That was just what we did. And I had teacher retirement, and now everything that we had always trusted in was now no longer. And so I let fear set in. And in August of that summer, y'all, my points started going backwards. And then I was really in fear mode. And each month it was like I was just treading water. I was having fun staying home, but it was like I didn't know what to do to help myself. And each month it just went, back and back and back. And by December of 2014, I actually lost diamond by 9 points. And y'all, I was so humiliated and I was so embarrassed. I couldn't even reach out to my team. I lost it by 9 points. That's 2 people that I needed to be active. And it was crazy. And so I didn't know what to do. And I looked at myself and I thought, I don't know how I got here. I was not a leader. I didn't look at myself in the leadership role, and I didn't know how to help anybody else get there. So if I couldn't help anybody else get there, and I didn't know how to help myself get back there, I just didn't know what to do. So I reached out to Sarah Marble because I know she's a personal development guru. And I just said, hey, I need help. And I told her the story. I went backwards and I was so embarrassed to tell her. But y'all, she was so sweet and so encouraging and so kind. And so it was crazy. She said, here, I think you need to get this book out. You need to read this book. You need to watch this YouTube video. This is what you need to do. And so I started on that journey, and she was just so sweet and so kind. And then I reached out to my first level one, Kim Wilson. And I was, talking to her about it. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get back there. And she said, I remember there's this lady, her name is Leslie Zann. And she did some trainings with another network marketing company that I was with. And I said, oh, okay. And she said, let me see if she'll do some coaching. So Kim reached out to her. And in January, we started coaching with Leslie Zann. And in January, I actually got Diamondback. And so from January until last summer, my points would hover right around Diamond. And I was learning so much, y'all. I was taking it all in. I was starting to become a leader. I was starting to believe in myself. But I don't know. Momentum still wasn't back. But we were doing okay. I was hovering. Well, last summer, once again, I lost Diamond, and it was like, I can't remember if it was 15 or 20 points. It wasn't much. Didn't reach out to anybody because I still hadn't told anybody my story because I was too embarrassed, except for a couple of people. And so summer hit, and I thought, you know what? That's okay though. This time I thought, my husband had preached to me so many times, you find your joy in the Lord, not in numbers, not in Plexus. Plexus is a gift. You need to remember that it is a gift, and you need to treat it as such. But your joy comes from the Lord, not from anything else. And so, it was crazy. And at that point, my husband had really been pouring into our team. He had been the one just posting on my team page, and I was just kind of in a funk, to be honest with you. And all of a sudden in September, and I got Diamond back the next month. But in September, we had started a STEM enrichment center. So it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in Rockwall. And when we did that, we were with 4 other couples. Well, my husband started working all the time out of the house. I mean, he wasn't in the house anymore. He was away from the house. And I had to start. It was like I had to put on my big girl pants, and I had to become the leader that God had designed me to be. And so I had all of this training, but I wasn't pouring it into my team. Well, last September is probably about the time that I thought, you know what? I have enough knowledge. I can do this. And I should not have waited that long. But y'all, our team is in full momentum again. I was actually able to, after 22 months, I was finally able to re-enter under myself, which was huge. I still didn't think it would happen until maybe this summer. So for it to have happened last month was really big. Our team is in full momentum again, and it's so exciting. But this time I can actually say I had a part in that momentum. I'm not saying that I did that momentum by any means, because it's my team, but I had a part in encouraging my team and leading my team. It was like for the last, 9 months maybe, I've actually become a leader to my team. And so leadership is just it's so crucial. You become a leader the minute you have one person on your team, or the minute you have one customer. You need to be that leader. You need to lead them in telling them how to take the products. And I did that type of leadership. But you need to see yourself as a leader and treat yourself as one. Take that time every day to pour into yourself. That way you can pour into your team. It's made the biggest difference. And something our team has just recently started is we've really because for so long I didn't take on that leadership role. I have a lot of amazing leaders on my team. But what I saw is we were all doing the same thing and not working together. So what I mean by that is we were all having different online opportunity events and Zoom new ambassador trainings, and we were all doing them. And we were all just having a few people show up or whatever. But we've realized that, hey, we can come together, and work together. And so it's not as hard. So really working with your leader and your upline is so important, because now what we're doing is I've asked all of my my leaders that have been leading these amazing teams to come together and help me out too. So now we're each taking on a week of new ambassador training and opportunity events, and we're just rotating that around. So it's been so much fun to actually learn from my leaders, but then also to be able to lead them too. So that's my journey. It's so much fun to tell the Diamond in 11 months, but I feel like so many more people can relate with the struggles and the going backwards and maybe being stuck. And maybe if you haven't felt that yet, you may not ever feel that. You may be in full momentum for a long time. So don't let that scare you. But I like to tell that story now. I always knew God would use that story. But I had to be able to tell it without crying and without, I had to get rid of my pride and knock down those walls, and just realize that I feel like more people can relate to that struggle than going to Diamond in 11 months. So, Rachel, do you have any questions or anything else you want me to hit?
You're just so beautiful, and I appreciate you sharing so vulnerably. I know that's hard. I mean, that's definitely been part of your journey, is to be able to share. As any leader, we don't really, it's hard for us to see what's happening and then reflect on it, and then it's like, okay, what is God doing here? So
right,
it's cool that you can do that.
Oh, thank you. It's I know that if I had not gone through all of that, I would not understand where other ambassadors were coming from. on my team, because I remember in the very beginning, literally, y'all, I was getting 12 to 15 new ambassadors a month. It was fast. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because I didn't know any difference. I would look around, and that's what Suzanne Clinton was doing, and that's what Beth Anderson was doing, and that's what Celeste was doing. And so I thought that's how you had to go. I mean, I just thought that's what it was. So when I would get discouraged on my team because I'd throw out a contest, hey, if you get 5 new ambassadors this month, oh my gosh, I would kill to get 5 new ambassadors this month. And it wasn't because my team wasn't working. It's just for some reason God had it happen quickly for me. But I had a lot of lessons to learn afterwards, so I'm so thankful that I was able to go through that process and to realize, like, hey, people are working and they're working hard. That doesn't mean just because they aren't going fast doesn't mean that they're not working. So it was really good for me. And I never was ugly to anybody about it, or, I just would always think, well, why can't you get 5 ambassadors? I don't understand. Well, trust me, I am happy if I get 1 new ambassador. I got a new ambassador this month, and I was like, it was time for a big celebration. So, I get it. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. That's the thing. It's totally worth it. It was worth those 22 months of me finding out more about myself and learning how to be a leader. And then getting to pour into my team now is so much fun. I mean, y'all, to see people just hit goals and just succeed, it's so much more fun than watching myself. And you know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand that before. So God's just taught me so much in this process.
Absolutely. I mean, when we went Emerald, we had 15 promotions that month, and I think that was my favorite part. I mean, I love
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, 15 people promoted. Like,
it's so cool.
It's so magical. It's beautiful. I guess my question would be, okay, so I know that you have business hours, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What are your business hours?
So they change each day. But what I told Kevin is I try to block out 2 hours every day for my business. Now, where that falls, it kind of depends on my day. But I try to look at 2 hours in my day that I can go for Plexus. So, because honestly, I could spend all day and all night working my business, and y'all, you're going to get burned out. I'm not saying don't work your business, and there are going to be times and seasons, like when you were pushing for Emerald, it was a time to just buckle down and do whatever it took, but yeah, I know you buckled down and did whatever it took. But you know what, guys, that's something else.
I mean,
What?
Our team did it together, but we did.
Oh, yes, of course. All of this, not one of us would be where we were without our teams. And that's just a fact. I know I would not be where I am without my team. And I have an amazing team. You have an amazing team, and so it's just, yeah, it's totally them. I get that. But yeah, I mean, I was working and not using business hours for so long, and I was on my phone continuously. And that's what my family would say is, my girls would say, Mom, you're always on your phone. Or Kevin would be like, get off your phone. Let's at least watch a movie. Because it's so easy to do our job anywhere, because I'm like actually in a restaurant parking lot right now. Obviously it's easy, but you have to set business hours. And I think when you set those business hours, it's so much easier to get your work done. Because if you say, I have 2 hours, I have from mine usually are like 9:30 in the morning till 11:30 in the morning. And depending on the day, there are times like tonight, I carved out time for this versus during the day. And I did what I needed to during the day. But when you have that set time and you think, okay, I have 30 minutes to work my business today, or I have an hour, guys, you work it harder. Because if you only have a certain amount of time, you're going to get the things done that you need to. If you go in your office and you sit and you think, well, I have all day, guess what? You're going to be in that office all day finding piddly stuff to do, and you're going to be scrolling Facebook. And so I found when I block out time and I say, okay, from this time to this time, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to reach out to 3 people right now. And an easy way to do that, guys, if you're struggling with time, an easy way to do that is get on Voice Messenger on Facebook. Send a voice message. It's so much better anyways than typing something out, because people get to hear your excitement and your enthusiasm about Plexus versus thinking it's just a blanket email. So pick up that phone or get on get on voice messenger or get on voice text and talk to people. It's so much easier and it saves so much time. So I may, say, okay, I'm going to call I'm going to voice message 3 people to reach out to them. I'm going to follow up with 2, and then I'm going to train 1, and so much of that can be done just by voice messenger. And so it really doesn't take that much time, but always, always, always give yourself 15 to 30 minutes of self-development every day. I think that's one of the best things that you can do. So then you can turn around and pour it into your team. And so even if you don't have time at night to read, turn on a CD in your car driving, or turn on a YouTube video. If you're not at the point yet that you're wanting to invest money, more money into your business at this point, if you're not able to do that, then y'all turn on a YouTube video. Find one of those leaders in our company that have great YouTube videos. Turn it upside down so you're not wanting to watch it, but listen to it in your car. I mean, that's listen to it while you're in the bathtub. Listen to it while you're, putting on your makeup, whatever it is. I listen to team calls all the time while I'm putting on makeup in the morning. It's just an easy time to get that self-development in.
Absolutely. Even if you're at a desk, like I used to listen to
yes,
my earbuds at my desk in the car.
Yes.
You can download those books from Eric Worre, and every single book's on Amazon. What is it?
Audible. Actually, if you sign up for Audible, you get 2 free books. So if you don't want to spend
nice.
You can sign up and then cancel.
We didn't do
that. And then use your husband's email and sign up and then cancel. There's 4 books.
And then use your dog's email. Totally. So, okay. So I feel like something I am experiencing, which I think people on this call will feel the same way, as you go up in rank. Like obviously Emerald is different than Senior Ruby, than Senior Gold. I feel like it's different times of the day that people need you.
Yes.
It's different hours. Like, yes, when we were pushing for Emerald, it was more. But I mean, on average, I definitely put in like 3 to 4 hours a day getting to, Ruby and all that.
Right.
Do you feel like when you hit because I see diamonds and they're like, well, it's 2 to 3 hours a day. But do you think that maybe like up to diamond it's more? Like what would be reasonable hours for someone?
I don't know. I mean, it really depends on your team. I know, it depends on your schedule. So I know for me, what I try to do is I try to hit messages from my team. Y'all, sometimes, and this is bad, but there are times I will be in my car and I'm stopped at a red light, and that's when I'll look down at Facebook, and if I can hear a message, and then I'll voice message them right then, and so I don't always count that time in, but or walking through the store. Oh, I got a message from somebody. If I can answer that quickly, I'll do that then. But other than that, I try to wait for, evenings. I'll look at my phone for messages, and then in the mornings, if I'm not, able to do it throughout the day like that.
Yeah.
But I think it just really depends on your team. And I think it's so important to give your team the tools so that they can find the information and that they can do it themselves. So you're not always having to spend time on that. I think it's really important just to give them those tools. I think that's one of the best things that we can do for our teams, and then encourage them to be the leaders for their team. So if you have people in your downline that are, your third, fourth level, yes, it's okay if they come to you occasionally, but sometimes they're skipping over their upline just because, oh, Rachel's a jewel, and you don't want that. You want them to give their upline the chance to be a leader too. So I've really tried to cut some of that down too, like try to get their upline involved. Like maybe I'll put them back in a group chat and say, hey, Rachel, your level 3 came to me about this, or, Susie Q came to me about this. I would love, for you to be able to see if you can help them. And if not, I would be more than happy to help. And just reminding them like, hey, this is your leader, and I think a lot of times people think, if you're a jewel, you have all the answers, and we don't, and so we want to help everyone, but we can't be that person for everyone. So that's something that I've tried to work on too, is I want people to know I'm there for them, but I can't be there for every single person. We have 75 400 people on our team. You know, there's no way.
Oh my gosh.
And so, well, that's kind of small compared to some of the other teams. But
we're like inching towards 800, and I'm like 7,400. Wow.
oh, girl, it'll happen before you know it. It'll happen before you know it. It's crazy.
Yeah, Kimberly that's on here. She's my power partner. She's my senior Ruby. She's really good. The same of like, okay, this is the resource of where you can find it, and then
yes,
we used to be very like active, like, oh well, here's the information. Now we kind of like let it sit a minute. Please ask it on the team page. Like help people really become like you said, like self-sufficient, because we're not going to be able to do it all, but we also don't want people to join under them and they think they have to do it all, because that's not freedom.
right. Exactly. Well, and it's okay to help people out. You know, I mean, I help people out all the time, but I think also telling them where they can find it is huge too, you know?
Yeah.
And so then next time they know where to find it. So yeah, I think that's just, you know, empowering people and letting them become the leaders that God designed them to be, you know, is really, it's good for them, and it's good for us too. You know, I know in the beginning I struggled. I wanted everyone, even though I did not see myself as a leader, I wanted everybody to come to me, but I surely wasn't leading either, you know? So it was just this awkward, like it was finding a balance of, you know what, they don't need to come to me. I need to give them the tools. But at the same time, I had to become the leader so that they, you know, I don't know. There was just a lot that I had to learn, if you can't tell.
No, I know what I mean. Being a leader is definitely not just answering questions.
Right. Absolutely.
Definitely not. It's, you know, understanding all the personalities and the dynamics and adapting. And I think the biggest thing is like adaptability to your role. Like as you go in rank, like you need to adapt to like where you're at. And that was one of the things I struggled with. And Kim and I talk about a lot is like, okay, whoa, you know, I'm senior Ruby now and Rumble now. Like, what does this look like for our team and stuff like that? And then when people go gold, they're like, oh my gosh, I have 20 people. I'm like, yeah, like you have a real team there. Like you need to we're going to have to step it up a little bit if you want to get to senior gold, because those 20 people are relying on you.
Right. And I just think, just being approachable and, you know, and just giving them tools. I think that's huge. And I think getting in front of your team on videos, even if you have one person on your team, I think it's great for them to see your face and hear your voice. You know, I think just having that relationship, building those relationships with people, you know, even though it's kind of one-sided sometimes until they feel like they know you and then they can reach out or whatever. But I think it's so good for your teams to see your faces.
Yeah, we've started doing more three-way calls on Zoom.
Yeah.
You know, trying to implement those more. But again, with the schedules, it's like, okay, so I only have 2 hours a day to do this. My Zoom's
right.
You know, so I almost feel like 2 hours of like hardcore IPA work or something like that, and then understanding like there's going to be other hours of the day that you're going to have
absolutely
and what in the Zooms and calls and stuff like that. So I feel like you could easily do 4 hours a day with hardcore.
Oh, absolutely. I just try to during the day. Now there are days that I'm in my office all day long, but you know there are days that it's 2 hours. But whatever it is, I'm trying to make sure like, okay, I'm not doing more than 2 events a week at night, because what I was doing is I was doing a Zoom almost every single night of the week. Well, that really, who cares if I'm a stay-at-home mom? My kids are in school every night and my husband's not seeing me. My kids aren't seeing me. I might as well have a nighttime job, you know? I mean, and so some of that freedom was getting lost in it. And so I just had to say, okay, I'm going to do 2 events a week and I'll schedule those. And once those schedules are, I mean, we'll bump to the next week, you know? I mean, it's not that I don't want to help people. It's that I have to make my family come first. And that is the beauty of this job. And if we're missing out on that, then you might as well go to a, you know, working nights or working all day or, you know, working weekends, whatever it is. I mean, that's the beauty of this job. So
yeah, we're so thankful that you chose to do us as one of your 2 Zooms this week. Thank you.
Well, no, I appreciate you asking.
For sure. Okay, so I want to open it up and then I want to let you go because I know you need to jet. But does anyone have any questions? Kimmy's here. I'd love for you to chat with Kimmy because I know she's been dying.
Well, I really just wanted to say thank you so much for your time, and you seriously, like, you hit home with me because I did rank up, fairly quickly. My girls are 14 and a half months apart. I'm actually going to be retiring my husband very, very soon.
Yay! That's so
A lot
exciting.
of people don't know that. Like we were going to wait until I went Emerald, but I really am, making enough money on my own, but he won't, he's the type of guy that he'll always be doing his thing in the garage, like partying out.
Right.
Yeah, he'll always be making money. So, but definitely it wasn't until I started, that I started implementing business hours to where I noticed a difference, in my relationship, in my life, like with my kids.
Right.
And everything. So, but I really just wanted to say thank you so much. And you were amazing.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Yeah, I think that was when at first I was like, guys, I'm not always on the phone. I'm not always on the phone. And then I'd realize, you've heard so many people say it, like your kid walks in and says something to you and you have no clue what they said because you're looking at your phone.
Yep.
And that question could wait, And so I think that's just whatever works for you. And there are times that I have to be on at night because that's when a lot of my team, they work all day. And so I do want to be there for them, but answering questions too at 11 o'clock at night when my husband and I are watching a movie, there's no sense in it,
Yeah.
And so it can wait until in the morning. And so I'm just learning that I've got to make it work where my family comes first and then my job. Actually I should say the Lord comes first, then my husband, or then my family, then my job. But
Yep. I've always said that. God, my husband, my kids.
Yeah, because it's a gift.
Everything. If it wasn't for my family, like, Plexus wouldn't have ever happened.
Right.
So it's definitely priorities. And
yes.
And I'm not going to lie, it took me a while until I started implementing business hours, but ever since then my life has been a lot better.
Well, don't you find too that you just get so much more done whenever you say I'm going to work from this time to this time versus, I'll just do it at, as it comes or whatever. And I just feel like I'm so much more productive. So
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about the insurance thing? I shared that with Kim because Kevin told me about it.
Yeah. So we're on Samaritan Ministries, which is a Christian co-op. It's actually only $425 a month for, I guess we end up paying like almost $450 because they'll put in there like, if you want to pay an extra $20, so-and-so's bills will be paid or whatever. But, but it's so good because I was scared to death, y'all. Scared to death because I was like, no, I need insurance, regular insurance. Well, I've had a friend that was in the hospital for 5 days. Every bit of it was covered. So what it is you're on a co-op and our payment goes to whoever has a need that month. Like they tell us like, hey, send your bill to Rachel and Shane Wagner. They had a baby or whatever it is, or they had, whatever. And so they'll do that. And now if it's pre-existing, then they'll say, that's where the $20 comes in. Hey, Shane had knee surgery. And so if, is pre-existing. So if everybody will send him $20, his bills will be paid. So anyways, it's been amazing. There have been months where it's actually gone down. They're like, oh, we had plenty of money to cover all of our bills, all of the bills last month or whatever. So it only goes into the company one time a year. And other than that, your money goes directly to a family and you get to pray for them. And it's been great.
Yeah, that's amazing. Shane he shared that link with me and my husband both looked into it because
yes,
that was one of the biggest things. I'm like, we have young children. Like I said,
yes,
14 and a half months apart. And my youngest will actually be 6 months this Friday. So I'm just like,
you need insurance.
Yeah, like it's not even about the money because obviously, Senior Ruby working on Emerald right now, like I do make really good money on my own. And then of course and you probably don't know this, but my hubby went gold. So
that's great. Yeah.
As well. So like that helps, of course, that extra money.
Right.
But like insurance and having kids, I was like, started getting anxiety and was like, I don't know if this is the right time and, this and that.
Right.
But I know with him here, my life would be a lot easier because he just, you know, I'm with my girls pretty much 24/7.
Right.
You know, he handles things differently. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Shy, remember I told you that at some point I would love to do that training in Rockwall?
Yes.
Kimberly's the senior Ruby that's in Rockwall that I was telling you about.
Oh, yay. Okay. Yeah. Well, Kimberly, we need to get together sometime. You're just right here.
I know when you said Rockwall earlier, I was like, Rockwall,
Yeah.
Rockwall.
Yeah, we live in the shores, so we're
Okay.
not.
I actually live in Fate, but I mean, Rockwall.
Okay, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
5 minutes from us.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So fun. Yeah, so we need to plan that, and y'all definitely, you're like,
Yeah,
you just need to meet.
that'd be great.
For sure. Absolutely.
So does anyone have any questions? Amanda, anything?
Yeah, I was just going to ask real quick. You mentioned earlier about your weekly new person training.
Yes.
Just in general, what is your kind of onboarding of new people? Just a general guideline of what your new people go through when they start for training.
So and I don't know what everybody else on my team's going to do, so it'll be exciting to watch different people train. But right now what I've been doing is I've kind of been using the new Success Kit, and they have y'all seen the new Success Kit? Do y'all have one? Or, okay, you know that the sheet, the quick guide or whatever, it has like 10 things to do as a new Plexus ambassador. Well, I kind of made it into 15. So we talk about being a product of the product. We talk about developing your why, setting your goals, always going back to your upline with those things. We talk about building belief in the company. We talk about starting personal development. What else do we talk about? Making your Franks list. I mean, just going through the very basic things to get started. Does that help? And I can email Rachel because I finally typed out what I do. So I can email that to Rachel, and then she can share it with y'all if you want.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And Thank you again for doing this tonight with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to show her our page that we're working on and see if she has any input too, maybe.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Okay, we'll add you. It's not like up and running yet. We're still working
on
it. It's pretty cool. Amanda's done some amazing things.
Awesome.
Okay, well, I want to be mindful of your time. Does anyone else have any other questions so we can let Cheyenne go hang out with her kiddos?
I was just going to ask really quickly, so you were talking about how you didn't feel like you were a leader, and then you started, reading books and just doing a lot more self-development. What do you feel was like your most, like the one thing that really clicked for you and like turned you around? Like, was it a specific book, a specific author? Specific, I don't know, person that you talked to or YouTube video?
Sarah Marble.
Yes, Sarah Marble. It's funny because just recently I started reading. Have y'all read the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself? It's talking about and there's also a book called Switch on Your Brain. I'm reading that now, but I just finished What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. But I think and it's talking about like daily affirmations and stuff. I think what really clicked with me was a while back, I remember being somewhere and hearing, I don't remember, probably Sonia Dudley or Helen McFadden or Celeste or Sarah Marble, somebody. And I thought, well, that's exactly what I would have said. And then I started listening to people, and I was watching YouTube videos, and I thought, well, that's what I would say. And I literally, y'all, I would take YouTube videos made by other people, and then I would make them mine. Like I would go back in and re-video them. And because I thought, well, that is what I would say. And so I started doing that, and I started telling myself, what you have to say is just as important as anybody else. You know what you're talking about. They're saying the same things that you would say. And so over and over again, I would just tell myself every day, like, I didn't even know, I wasn't even thinking it was affirmations, but that's what it was. And before long, it just became normal and natural. So I attribute it more to daily affirmations and just watching other leaders and thinking, that's exactly what I would do. Or I may tweak it like this, and it's still okay because it's saying the same thing. I would have said it like this, but it means the same thing. So just, I think for me, it was watching other people and then just telling myself like, hey, what you have to say matters. I mean, it doesn't matter if we're a brand new ambassador or if we're double diamond. What we have to say matters, you know? So I think it was that more than anything.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's great.
Christy, you have a lot of amazing things to say and share.
Aw, thanks.
You do. You all do. But anyone that feels insecure, like what you're saying doesn't make sense. I mean, I feel that way all the time. And someone will duplicate something that I do, and I'm like, oh, so that was good. And you're going to
Right.
see that all the time is like, the affirmation is random. It doesn't make sense. Like, you're just going to hear it and be like, oh, okay, that was good. And then you'll get more bold about what you're doing and like,
Right.
that was good too. And, you know, it kind of happens that way. And I know, Jesse, you were talking about fear, but girl, you are fierce. Jessica Caldwell, you are one fierce cookie, and you are taking the reins on so many things. And I'm just so proud of you. I just got to give you a shout out because I saw you post.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. You're amazing. Everyone's amazing. Okay. Well, let's take our quick picture and then let Cheyenne get to her fam bam.
Thank
Okay,
you,
let me take
Cheyenne.
Thanks, y'all. Let me take out these earphones real quick.
Okay, one. Where's Kimberly?
Hold on. There we go.
Okay, ready? One. Honey, come here. You look like you're really small. Where are you? Come here. You're like dug into the couch. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm cracking up. I've had in these headphones the whole time, and I didn't realize that it would go through my husband's speakers, so I didn't even have to have in those stinking headphones.